Ben, can you hear me?
Oh,
Ben, can you see me?
oh, you do. Oh, you like doing like the film.
Ben, can you get me wallet? I've left it on the side.
No, it's mine now. It belongs to me.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Comedy Dining Experience.
It is the evening.
We're having a mammoth recording session today.
Introduce us.
My name is a Dan.
Now introduce me.
His name is a Ben.
Thank you. Now carry on.
Today we are watching the Good Time film, Tommy.
Yeah.
This is a musical good time rock and roll film.
I'm happy about this one, guys.
Yeah. Ben's been recommending this one since we did the Hard Day's Night one, which in turn, was recorded months before it came out. So it's been a very long time in the making.
Yes, it's been an odyssey.
Ben, are you excited about this adventure into
Of course I am. I mean, I've seen this film many times, but I'm always happy to watch this film. This is one of my favourites. One of my favourites.
Is one
as Pop from the League of Gentlemen would say.
An excellent choice.
Yeah.
So, we have got the lovely Blu-ray of Tommy, and we are on a blue screen with the words Robert Stigwood Presents on it.
Yeah, the Blu-ray has no, and I believe this is true of the DVD as well, has no logo. It literally just begins.
Official time code is 0.
As I was saying to Dan earlier, I don't think anyone made this film. It just emerged one day from the ether. It just turned up at cinemas. Cinemas were like, what is this? Oh, I guess we better play it. And there you go.
Their minds blow.
No one involved with the film has come forward to talk about it.
Well, we are queued up to 000001. We've got a Robert Stigwood Presents logo, and we're going to get the show on the roll so we can rock and roll.
Big scary Hollywood man, Robert Stigwood. Yeah.
And we're going to hit play in 3, 2, 1. Tommy.
Do it. Here we go. Robert Stigwood Presents a film by Ken Russell. Tommy. By The Who. Just wanted to sync you all up there. And now we're good to go.
It is the son and a man. A man who is the son of the man.
Don't worry, the whole commentary isn't just going to be us saying what's on the screen, Arnold Schwarzenegger style.
Is the son of man, the man who is the son.
Yeah, so this is Tommy.
Would you like a piece of Cadbury Dairy Milk?
I'm quite alright, thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, there's I almost feel like there's too much I'm kind of at a loss because there's almost too much to talk about this film. It's very there's a lot to unpack. Have you ever seen this Blu-ray version before, like the HD version of it?
No.
I think it'd look good on your TV. Your nice big ass TV. But there we've got Robert Powell, aka Jesus Christ,
Looking very well.
Anne Margaret there, who's been in many films. She was in one of my favourite films, this, and also one of my least favourite films, Viva Las Vegas.
Oh, brilliant.
Which I'm sure Dan will... What was that?
I just turned my table light off so we could better see the picture.
Dan just turned the lights off using his mind, guys. Apparently they were absolutely fucking freezing cold filming this scene because you got to imagine this film was shot in and around Portsmouth.
Yeah, it'd be quite cold.
Oh my god, I bet they would have been... He would have had literally no bollocks by the time he came out of that. Even frolicking with Anne Margaret would not be enough to get you any. So obviously, I guess we should talk about where this film came from. This film is, of course, based on the 1969 rock opera by Pete Townsend, released and recorded by The Who in '69. Probably the first example of what would become known as the rock opera. Maybe not the first example, but it was when rock operas and concept albums started to be taken seriously as a concept, and then became de rigueur in the 70s onwards. And there have been previous adaptations. There was a theatrical adaptation in '72, an orchestral adaptation in '73, and then we end up with this, the film adaptation by Mr. Ken Russell.
Blimey.
Who we will be talking about, of course. Ken Russell, one of the phrases that I think were invented for him, which was the enfant terrible of British cinema. He, of course, directed my favourite film of all time, which is The Devils, which I've said this many times. Might have said it before on one of these. And he directed, of course, lots of fantastic stuff like
Listomania.
I wasn't going to say Listomania. We'll get to that. He directed Women in Love. He directed Savage Messiah, Marla, The Boyfriend, The Music Lovers, another fantastic film.
What's that film he did in his back garden?
Well, those were in his later years when he had no money not no money, but no one wanted to make his films, so he shot films in his back garden. So yeah, you've not said anything so far, Dan. What's your experiences of this film?
I've seen it about twice.
I can't do it all.
I was quite happy to just. It's like having an actual audio commentary on it. It was quite nice.
It's like a real film, guys. It's great. Not just like saying things.
It's not like we're just sitting here dusting off the old Christopher Walken impressions.
This is typical Russell, isn't it?
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much.
Dolly
so.
birds in bikinis in the Blitz. It combines his two favourite things, which is girls in bikinis and chaos.
Yes,
and terror,
which is fantastic.
Which Russell grew up in the Blitz, and he always said he still remembered like playing with the bricks and mortar from buildings. So all this stuff would have been quite sort of like from experience, as it were, to do all these scenes.
No, absolutely. No, my experience with Russell, I've watched this film twice. First time was back just after I finished university, probably around about 2015, 16. Second time was about 2 or 3 days ago in a really, really shit, low-resolution.
Wow, so you're very fresh to this film then.
Yeah, still fairly fresh.
I've seen this film so many times, it's not even true. That feels like a reference to the album cover, that shot of her. The original album cover from '69. Of her looking out the window with the sort of geometric shapes and shit going on. But yeah, I mean,
my experience with Russell as a director is a little bit different. First film I saw of his was probably Listomania, which I really, really like. I'm unashamedly a Listomania fan. Biggest problem with it is that...
I'm holding off from talking about Listomania for the simple reason being I feel like you want to do that one day.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm only going to touch on it passingly, which is basically to say that I really enjoyed it, and Warner Brothers refused to release it because they're cowards.
Well, Warner Brothers made this, but you don't see their shield at the start of the film, so I'm presuming that they don't own the rights to it anymore. And whoever put the Blu-ray and DVD copies out have had to license it. But yeah... I mean, there's not an awful lot to say really about the story of this. I mean, it sort of makes more sense as a story than the album did, which figures because that's an album of rock songs, and this is a film. It's a visual medium. There's more to see. Yeah.
I mean, at some point I do also hope to cover the Devils, but unfortunately, it's
nice little foreshadowing here as well, because she's shoveling all the ball bearings in, which foreshadows Tommy's eventual future career, stardom, as it were. With the pinballs.
Yeah, it's a nice little sort of nod. I do like the soundtrack choices through the majority of the opening.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack's interesting. If you've ever heard the original album from The Who, it doesn't sound it's the same music as such, or the same songs as it were. It doesn't sound anything like this. That is very much a late 60s rock album. Good old guitar, bass and drums just banged out. This is obviously... Pete Townsend was very fond of the synthesizer, as we're going to learn in this film.
Oh, yes.
Quite a bit over the next 2 hours.
You don't say.
Very controversial choice. A lot of Who fans in particular don't care for the music in this film for that exact reason. I think it works fine for the visuals of the film because it matches the absurdity of the visuals and the craziness. I find it very hard to listen to the music from this film on its own. Like divorced, like my partner has the official soundtrack of this film, as in the film recordings, and it doesn't sound right to me almost. I find it's quite harsh and it's a little unbearable listening to the music just because how it sounds, because they really go crazy with the synthesizers. And I get that it was probably quite new and novel in 1975 to have like quote electronic music. Get you. But I find it quite hard to listen to divorced from the film.
Yeah,
the music for me only works in the context of the film.
Yeah, well, I mean, outside of the BBC's Radiophonic Workshop and developments in Europe, there wasn't really that much synthesized music going on really at this time.
It wasn't a genre of music. It was seen as like a novelty, like it was used for like scores, like TV themes, movie scores. That's how electronic music was treated. It wasn't until later on. I wouldn't say this film pioneered electronic music. I don't think it pioneered much. Now, Ken Russell, on his actual commentary, claims that they were all really there in the background. I don't know. It looks to me like they're in front of a green screen just from the way they look. Look at the outlines of the nurses. What do you reckon? They could be there, but it just looks off to me. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. Maybe it's a case of they built the window into a shot. You know, like a matte painting almost.
Yeah.
Rather than it being an actual green screen, blue screen thing, because I couldn't really tell much fringing or anything.
It looked when the
didn't
doctor
look right, though.
when the doctor walked in front of the window, it looked like an outline of like a matte projection. To me. I could be wrong. I wasn't there because I wasn't alive, and neither were you.
Are you sure about that?
My spirit might have been there. My essence was there because my father was alive, so my spirit would have been there.
Oh, we're getting philosophical here already.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
I can see that working.
Yeah.
But where does the spirit truly begin and end?
Up your bum.
Ah.
Now, interestingly enough, the story of this film takes place in the aftermath of World War II, evidently. On the album, it took place in the aftermath of World War One, and later on, we're going to have a song called 1951, whereas on the album, it was 1921. I think that would have, from what I remember reading about, I think that was Ken Russell's decision to update the setting of the film by about 20 years. I think because he felt that he knew World War II better because he had actually grown up in the war, like I said. He'd grown up in the Blitz and all that. So I think he just felt like he could approach that era with a bit more of a finesse. Not that finesse and subtlety are Ken Russell's strong points.
I suppose as well.
Exactly, but...
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, I suppose as well, by setting it in World War II over World War One, your target audience is going to be fairly more, tuned in. Because there would have still been people around in the 70s who had been through World War II.
Yeah.
Whereas the numbers for World War One might have been a bit thinner.
It was more contemporary.
Yeah.
And now we've got Oliver Reed. Oliver Reed could not sing a note.
No.
So what they did was, but you're thinking he's singing here. Well, that's because he's recorded it one word at a time. And if you think I'm joking, I am not. Really? So basically, what they did to record his singing, because obviously all the singing in this is pre-recorded, they're all miming. So what Pete Townsend had to do was record him. So he'd go, "I'm your uncle," pause the tape. "Ernie and I," pause the tape, go back.
Oh,
"Welcome," pause the tape. "You two," pause, go back. Because he just couldn't hold a line. He couldn't hold a song for longer than a line. So all his sung dialogue is all spliced together.
Oh, God.
From various takes.
Jeez.
Which is insane. It sounds like it was taking about 2 months to do his vocals.
It does. Blimey. I mean, I will say I do, I personally prefer...
That is the bluest water I've ever seen in my life.
Very blue.
Yeah.
I was going to say I do prefer Reed in other Russell films, but
well, yeah, he's really good in this. Although I think that silly, over the top acting maybe wasn't his forte.
No,
I think he's more suited to dramatic roles personally.
Yes,
and of course I love Oliver Reed. I know he's got a bit of a reputation as a bit of a lout, a bit of a drunk, a bit of a drinker.
You don't say.
There's many stories and legends about Oliver Reed. Remember, my dad told me a legend, I don't know if this is true, I'm going to believe it to be true, about how he was at a house party once and he'd really upset some people, so they made him leave, and then about an hour later he came back on a horse and tried to crash through the window.
The one that always sticks with me is he was invited out to dinner somewhere, and he was with these businessmen, and they were really boring, and he wasn't really happy. So he turned to this woman on the table he was with and took his coat off and said, "Would you mind just holding this for me for a second?" And he sort of stormed off. And 15 minutes later, behind them was this great big fish tank. And 15 minutes later, Oliver Reed appeared in the fish tank, completely naked, just swimming through the water.
Jesus Christ. He certainly lived his life, I will say that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not to the healthiest degree.
No.
But
I mean, immediately when you mention his name, I always go to either Bill Sikes in Oliver or him dancing on Parkinson.
Well, Bill Sikes in Oliver, obviously he'd been in loads of Russell films, The Devils, obviously. Women in Love.
As well.
That's another story about him I like. I think it was either Women in Love or The Devils, where he came over to Ken Russell's house, pissed. I mean, I feel like every story starts that way. He came over to X's house pissed. And he said, "You don't know anything about this fucking script. Come outside." And Ken Russell went, "What are you doing?" And Oliver Russell had 2 broadswords. Went, "You and me are going to have a fight now. Come on." And he threw Ken Russell a broadsword and just went, "Have at you!" and lunged at him with the sword. And Ken said he just had no choice. It was either... Ken Russell said in interviews, like, "I literally thought I was going to die. Oliver Reed would have stabbed me with that sword. So I had no choice. I didn't have a choice. I had to defend myself and have this fight with him."
Who won?
Well, Ken Russell lived longer, so maybe him. Oliver Reed, of course, infamously died on the set while shooting the film Gladiator.
Yes, and was
Ridley
replaced
Scott.
by CGI Oliver Reed,
Replaced by cartoon Oliver Reed.
who wasn't paid as much. But
Yeah. This song, by the way, that we've just been listening to, Bernie's Holiday Camp, is not on the album. There were a number of songs for this that were written for the film by Pete Townsend. This is one of them, which is why it's a bit to me. It's very like... You can tell it wasn't on the album because it's obviously there to impart story information, exposition, and introduce us to the whole concept of Ernie and the holiday camp, which obviously sets us up later for Tommy's sort of ego trip, as it were.
yes,
Yeah. And more imagery of foreshadowing with the planes and everything, which is something that later films, such as Pink Floyd The Wall, for example, would rip off.
oh, yeah.
You never see the makers of that film talk about this film as an influence, which
No.
is funny because they very clearly was influenced by this film. Like, it's obvious.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Never see him talk about that, though. Funny that.
Well, I mean, one of the more striking shots was of that Spitfire in the night flying over the sky. That's very clearly stolen in the wall multiple times.
The
as
Wall,
kind of an imagery.
The Wall rips off so much from Tommy. All the World War II imagery, the whole Rockstar as Messiah theme, carried over straight from this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, have you seen Anne Margaret in much?
No.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen her in a few things. She was in Viva Las Vegas, which I really don't like. I hate that film with a passion.
I remember you saying Elvis's musical films weren't necessarily your favourite venture.
I like the early ones. Basically, pre-Army Elvis films are pretty good. Jailhouse Rock, King Carole. King Carole's probably his best one. Loving You, that's a great film. But everything from about 1960 onwards is complete dreck and should be avoided like the plague. Which means you'll probably be going to watch them all right now.
Box set is ordered. Should be here tomorrow.
Dan's like, I've already got them on now on a second television. I'm now watching Change of Habit instead of Tommy.
Switch over to the second TYTD channel to see us doing Viva Las Vegas.
Yeah. Now here's another little thing that gets twisted up from the... So in this film, as is about to happen, Tommy's father is about to be killed by the stepfather. In the album, it was the other way around. Tommy's father killed the stepfather. Oh, right. And that's what triggered his deaf, dumb and blindness. I'm guessing it was Ken's decision to swap it round. I'm assuming... I can see the logic behind it. He probably thought it would be more dramatic if a boy watches his father dying. That would be much more of a traumatic event for a boy to go through. And that would be a legitimate reason for a boy to completely shut down their senses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that does make more sense, and I think that's actually a better version than the one on the album, personally. Because it would be more traumatic to watch your father die as opposed to some guy you've only known for like a week.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be traumatic to watch anyone die, but
Well,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah. Oliver Reed is terrifying in this bit.
Yeah. They're all very sweaty.
Well, they've just been having sex, Dan.
Well, yes, but like, I don't think I've ever been that sweaty.
Not even while having sex?
No. I'm a very dry man.
I'm a very dry man, I am. I mean, that would shock me too, to have a sweaty Oliver Reed shouting in my face while a synthesizer blared in the background.
So when he was duetting there, was his lines being recorded line at a time as well? Or?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Everything, basically, because all the dialogue in this film is obviously sung, so... And all the dialogue has been post-synced, so... Yeah, he would have had to do it line at a time because he really, really could not sing.
Yeesh.
And Pete Townsend was just like, why have you cast Oliver Reed? I know he's your mate, but he can't sing. And Ken was like, oh, it'll be fine.
Be fine, dear boy.
Don't worry about it now, shut up.
I love that. On your
I love that shot. I feel like I'm going to say this about 20 times in the film, but I love that shot of them walking through the endless white tunnel. And this bit makes me sick because I hate those things. We talked about this. We talked about this in bloody New Year, but I do hate those things. Those waltzer things.
And do they just not agree with you?
They just what fun is there to be had from them?
Have a bit of a spin around.
Well, I could do that at home.
Could you?
Yeah, just stand on the spot and spin around.
Would you want to?
I might have done before now. How do you know?
I'm just trying to get this visual image in my head. Would you stand?
I thought you were going to say I'm just trying to figure you out then.
Just trying to feel out our boundaries here.
I love this sequence, the amazing journey of all the flashes, and this bit's been redone for the Blu-ray.
Oh, really?
It looks a lot cleaner than it did in the DVD.
Maybe they lost the original materials.
The original animation?
Yeah,
possibly. Because look, like it'll cut back in a minute. It just looks like I remember on the DVD that it looks very manky, that bit of animation, and now on the Blu-ray it looks really nice. So I think they've gone back and redone it. It could be me though. Maybe I'm just misremembering. It's amazing, like Ken Russell's work. Obviously, not all his films were like this. He made films with dialogue in them.
Yes.
But I feel like if Ken Russell had been around in the 20s and 30s, in the silent film era, he would have especially flourished because he's so good at visual storytelling, and getting the actors to really convey their emotions. They're doing it in an extreme way.
Yeah.
But the imagery of Ken Russell could easily match up with someone like Fritz Lang or F.W. Murnau or one of those really visual artists where every expression on an actor's face and every frame counts.
No, I agree.
Say what you want about Russell's films. They're very. I can see why people don't like them, but he doesn't waste a single frame or a single minute. No. Everything in his films just pops and just demands you to look at it.
This is the thing. I mean,
that's one thing you can't. I don't think you can accuse Russell of being boring. You can accuse him of being silly and over the top and ridiculous, but they're never boring.
No, they've always got something going on,
which
is really nice and solid. And in many ways, that's why I quite enjoy his more out there works.
Yeah. I spilled something on your microphone. I hope it still works.
Say something.
Hello.
Yeah, it still works.
Still working fine?
Yeah, you're all right.
Let me just dry it off. I'm worried now. Hello. Just look at the thing. Hello, can you still hear me? 1, 2, 3?
Yep, looking good.
Okay, good. I suppose as long as I don't spill it on the actual audio recorder, it's fine.
Yeah. Some very striking visuals.
Yeah. And all the stuff he did for the BBC as well. Like, there's a fantastic film he did for the BBC called Song for Summer.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ken Russell's thing, his MO, as it were, was films about composers. He did composer biopics. So he did one for Delius, Mahler. He did one for Richard Wagner. He did one for Richard Strauss, which got banned.
Oh, is that the Dance of the Seven Veils?
Dance of the Seven Veils, which still to this day can't be officially released because of issues with Strauss's estate.
I did see a very ropey bootleg of that a while ago.
You can find it online.
Yeah.
It's been widely circulated online. As Oliver Reed doing what no one, I think, expects him to do, drinking. They turned the song "Christmas" into a Christmas song for the film.
Oh.
On the album, it's basically just a rock song. They turned it into a proper Christmas song for the film with literal sleigh bells and whistles. I mean, I've never had, you know what I mean? Every emotion is just piled to the top. It's like a silent film. Everything is pumped up to 11. It can't just be a Christmas party. It has to be the most Christmassy party ever.
Yeah.
With balloons and everything thrown at it.
It has to be very, very bombastic.
Yeah. This is the last time I'll ask this, but am I coming through on the thing?
Say
hello.
Yeah, you're coming through nice and clear, although the closer you get to the mic, the more it peaks.
Hello, how's that?
Yeah, sounding good.
Great, okay. Sorry, folks, bit of behind-the-scenes turmoil there.
Ben poured Pepsi all over the mic.
I just got very frustrated at myself, okay? I wanted myself to stop talking. This is a scary sight.
Terrifying.
Imagine that.
Can that be my cooked and bombed gift, please?
Imagine that in your face. Jesus H. Christ.
Terrifying.
Yeah. That hat is gigantic.
Very easy cosplay, though.
Yeah. That little boy does a good job. I know that all he had to do was basically just stare into space. But I mean, he does a good job at it, considering
There's a lot going on.
Well, considering he had people screaming in his face in a lot of these early scenes. It's yeah, definitely good. I suppose the question of whether you prefer the album or the film comes down to taste. I personally, like I say, the album is better as a pure listening experience because it's obviously performed by 4 people. This is a typical Russell thing here with the crash zooms. Or rather, the crash zooms that just go in and out, in and out.
Yes.
If anyone has seen The Devils, there's the very infamous bit where Murray Melvin is having the wank while watching that's the scene that Warner Brothers cut, by the way.
Yeah. Release The Devils uncut on Blu-ray, you cowards.
And it does the classic zooming in and out. She's got that old-timey soft focus filter on her that they used to put on older actresses.
I really do like that shallow depth as well.
That's what they used to do. Older actresses, make them look all nice. They used to do it on Star Trek a lot. Put that old-timey filter on. Just smear some wax on the lens. That'll do it. I used to be that Oliver Reed would go out at, like, drinking after filming, and he'd be out till like 5-6 in the morning.
Jeez.
But then he'd still be up at, like, if he had a 7 a.m. call time, he'd be there at 7.
Blimey.
Ready to start filming. Like, he never missed out on film. He never missed out on work because of his habits. He would go out and just be a dickhead at night. But he'd be there at 7, ready to go.
Oh, wow.
Knowing his lines, knowing what to do.
Shocking, isn't it?
And I suppose he just, like, you know, he probably just thought, well, if I'm late, that means I don't have money, so I can't continue my adventures.
You must keep the trip going.
Yes, I must keep the madness going.
It's amazing what functioning alcoholics can do.
Yeah. A lot of religious imagery in this film. Another one of Russell's favourite pedalicos.
Phallic symbol.
Yeah. It's this cut doesn't quite work, and I'll tell you why when it happens. Oh, look, Tommy's eyes have changed colour.
Oh, bro. Blindness will do that to you.
Apparently that's a symptom of psychosomatic blindness and deafness. So this is a bit of a mad sequence. And look, there's the Who.
Oh, brilliant.
Even though Keith Moon is doing not a terrific job at miming, although I don't think he did a lot of the drum tracks for this film.
No.
He was too busy partying with Oliver Reed. Oh, look who it is.
Huh.
It's Enoch Clapton.
Yay!
Dan, you have some thoughts about Eric Clapton.
Fucking hate Eric Clapton.
Dan doesn't like Eric Clapton.
Fucking hate
As a person or as a musician or both?
As both. Basically, the only track I give him any sort of leeway on is Layla, and apparently he didn't even really do very much with that. So...
I don't know.
He was with a band at the time.
Yeah, Derek and the Dominoes.
Yeah. From his very staunch racist beliefs, which you can fuck off on that, right the way through to his current stance around immigration and vaccination.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me.
His attitude was, who are the government to tell people that they can't come to my gigs unless they've been jabbed?
Well, I didn't know that, but it doesn't shock me either.
No. So fuck him.
I always know Eric Clapton as like friends of musicians I like. Like he was mates of all the Beatles. He was best mates of George Harrison. Obviously friendly with the Who, considering he's in this.
Didn't he steal George Harrison's missus though?
Yeah,
he was very friendly.
I think I talked about this on Hard Day's Night. But yeah, he stole George Harrison's missus, and then
a little too friendly.
George Harrison had sex with his missus. Very complicated marital arrangements they had going on.
But fair enough.
Yeah. But we there was no operation performed for a long time, shut down.
We've been watching too many movies, Ben.
Yeah.
Telly has said it's time to go to bed. Where did I put the TV right there?
Oh my god, this is terrifying.
We've got thrilling moments here on the Comedy Dining Experience. There we go.
There we go. So yeah, this is obviously a big theme of this film is the worship of idols, or false idols, I guess, which is what the whole Marilyn Monroe thing ties into, and why he appears to be in a church of Marilyn Monroe. The Marilyn Monroe thing is not on the original album, that motif, so that would have presumably come from Ken.
Feels like it.
He tells a story about how they were filming in this real church, and the minister came in and he was shocked because he was like, "What are you doing? This is obscene. What is this?" And then Robert Stigwood got on the phone with the big scary Hollywood Robert Stigwood got on the phone to the minister, had a few, shall we say, words with him, and the minister was like, "Okay, never mind, carry on." I imagine the phone call went along the lines of, "You shut your fucking mouth, you fucking cocksucker." Oh, look, it's Arthur Brown.
Ah.
Well, cameos in the Spice World, this film.
It's amazing, isn't it? I'm still waiting for Roger Moore to turn up.
Arthur Brown looks a bit like me.
Yes, he does, actually. It's quite uncanny.
He shows far more va-va-voom than Eric Clapton does.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what happened to the Marilyn masks.
As in real life?
Yeah, well, the movie props, aren't they?
I don't know. Chucked in the bin.
Hmm.
I presume. Oh, the Church of Drugs and Booze, I guess.
Where do I sign up?
I know, this sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Have a good old swig of whiskey, pop a couple of pills, get shouted at by Arthur Brown.
Yeah. I mean, I do get the point that Russell's trying to make in this scene, even if it's incredibly overwrought. But, you know, I like overwrought, and I like stupid, and I like silly. And why be subtle when you could do something like this?
You know, if you're going to go big, go big. And
Yeah.
Russell was never one to be subtle, shall we say.
No. His thoughts about his feelings about religion and fame and everything were always very complicated, all through his work. So it only figures that this film would carry on that tradition. Not too keen on this version of this song, even though on the album this song is 2 minutes long. In the film, it's about 6 minutes. Because Eric Clapton just had to fucking show off with his Strat, didn't he?
Yeah.
Had to do some twiddling and noodling. Very reminiscent of the Devils in a way.
It is, you know.
Ladies sashaying and swinging about in a church.
Yeah, I am getting strong links back to the Rape of Christ scene.
Psychedelic. This obviously ties into later on when Tommy is going to become something of an idol, or a false idol himself later on. So that's about Roger Daltrey as well as Tommy.
Yes.
And his lovely curly hair.
Wonderful curly
Which is
hair.
a wonderful mane of hair.
It is. It's quite magnificent.
Yeah.
It's a shame he went a bit weird as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
What? You're ruining everyone for me.
No,
What's Roger Daltrey done?
I think he's pro-Brexit, anti-vax as well.
Well, to be fair, he's like 75. Of course he's going to be pro-Brexit.
Well, the best part of it was, though, if memory serves, when the Brexit vote thing was going out, he was all like, "Oh, no, it'll be brilliant. It'll mean that we get to do whatever we want. We don't have to faff around and this, that and the other." And as soon as it happened, he was like, "I think it's ridiculous that we're not allowed to tour outside of England without visas."
So basically, as soon as it affected him personally,
Yeah, it suddenly became
when
a
it
horrible thing.
That sounds like a typical Brexiter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As soon as it affects me personally, it's bad.
Until then, it's really good.
Oh, here we go.
Now, you told me years ago that originally this role was supposed to be for David Bowie.
Yes, this appears to be today's theme for our recording. Roles that were originally meant to go to David Bowie, and yes, that's true. David Bowie was going to play the Acid Queen. I think it's quite good actually that he didn't. I think he would have been too fucked up around this time.
What year was this? Exactly?
75.
Oh yeah, he'd have been high on his peppers and cocaine sitting in the desert.
Would have been shot late 74.
Yeah.
So, he would have been in his cocaine and milk and peppers era.
Yeah.
Probably not stable enough to appear in a film. Although he did appear in The Man Who Fell to Earth, even though he was playing a drugged up weirdo in that. So.
Yeah. That's another one we need to do a commentary for at some point.
Yeah, but and the second reason why it's good that he didn't is because they were able to get Tina Turner, and she's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Out of all the celebrity like roles they get to do the songs in this film, she's her and Elton, I'd say, but she's fantastic in this.
Oh yeah.
Just she just gives it so much fucking voom. And this is one of the only times I actually prefer this version to the version on the album, sung by the band. Tina just fucking blows everyone off the fucking wall here.
She really does throw herself into it.
You ever seen the film What's Love Got to Do with It?
No, I haven't.
It's all about her biopic. It's all about her relationship with Ike Turner.
Oh, yeah.
Their chaotic relationship. Very good.
Yeah.
But she's great here. I wish my drug dealers back in the day looked like, I wish they were all voluptuous women with giant red capes who turn into robots.
Sounds like a winner to me.
Yeah.
When did this film become Moonwalker?
So this sort of ties into the thing of like, they've tried religion to cure his illness. That's not worked, so now they're going to turn to drugs. I suppose when this album came out, 1969, it would have been quite prevalent to have a song called The Acid Queen when when acid was the drug du jour.
I was going to say, Daltrey's blind acting is quite phenomenal. I mean, I don't know whether you know.
All he had to do was like stare into space.
Well, no, but like I don't know whether you saw that bit then where Tina Turner was dragging him through the stairwell, but he was like, when he went for a fall, he properly went for a fall. It wasn't like,
Well, Daltrey's not a bad actor. He's been in some good stuff, and he's not bad in Listomania.
Oh, I love him in Listomania.
You love everything about that film, though.
I do. Apart from the fact that it isn't on Blu-ray at the minute. Warner Brothers, get your shit together.
Now we get into Ken Russell weirdness because now Tina Turner has turned into a robot.
Oh, brilliant.
That has syringes poking in it, and they're going to put Tommy in the robot and presumably inject him with something. Something bright and red, which I assume is meant to be acid, but I've never known acid look like that.
No.
Something about twins creeps me out. I've never liked twins.
No, well, Danny DeVito
I'm sorry if anyone's listening to this who's a twin. I'm sorry if I'm offending you, but I think you're creepy.
It's not the actual twins you should be apologising to. It's Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. They worked really hard on that film.
Yeah. So they're injecting him with big, scary drugs.
Oh, no.
This is another common theme of Russell's work, his abject fear of women and the womb. That's essentially what he's doing, is climbing back into the womb.
Yeah. It's
that's a bit film studenty wanky talk, but...
Hey, if you want to explore that further, feel free. My audience is here for that kind of stuff.
God knows what this would look or feel like in real life, but there you go.
It looks like a BBC Two ident, I'll be honest with you.
It's like a Morris Binder James Bond title sequence. It's got those vibes to it. The Blu-ray makes you can see the black studio mats.
Yeah.
See where her feet were?
Yeah.
I've never noticed that before. HD restoration does some films no favours.
Oh, no. There's a reason why I sometimes prefer the VHS aesthetic.
I like that, how they've optically done it so like it disappears inside her mouth.
Yeah.
In that sequence.
See, he's alright.
I don't know. I wouldn't say this is what LSD... I guess this can be what LSD can be like. But then again, I've never had it while inside a giant robot while wearing a loincloth.
Whilst also being deaf, dumb and blind.
Yeah, so maybe that my experience doesn't count.
Well, Ben, tonight
look at his face here. He does a... I think that's because that robot was probably fucking freezing.
Probably
He did a little woo, woo, as it closes.
Woo. Well, you got to imagine it's probably fiberglass, so...
Yeah. Oh.
You said a friend of yours did mushrooms whilst watching this.
Yeah, I wish I'd done that.
Blimey.
Wish I'd been there that night. I've done mushrooms, but not while watching this, which is a shame because it would have been fantastic. Then again, I probably would have been on the floor crying by the end of it, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
More Jesus imagery.
Hooray!
Because he just can't get enough of that.
I can. He loves.
I
his
do love
nuns,
this.
He loves his
What a
Christ
striking image that is, covered in poppies and.
You know, I've just realised we're watching this on Remembrance Sunday.
No, Remembrance Sunday was. Oh no, it's
Today, which is Sunday.
Oh, whatever. Well, it's not offensive to war soldiers, really.
No,
It just plays with that imagery.
I was running from the perspective. Oh no, it's a skeleton that's popped out.
It's William Castle. I've never understood this. What happens now? Keep watching. Who's that guy?
That was Oliver Reed.
It's not. It's just some fat guy.
Is it?
Yeah. Don't do it now because we're recording. But if you go back, it's no one in the film. It's no one recognisable.
Oh.
It's just a man smiling. I know it works because he's meant to be tripping on acid, and it's like, ooh, crazy. But I was always, and the commentary doesn't answer this. By the way, if anyone's got this film, you should watch the actual real commentary, not the pretend one we're doing, with Mark Kermode and Ken Russell. Very, very good. Very, very pleasant listen.
Highly recommended.
But they don't answer who that guy is.
Oh.
I'd love to know.
Maybe if we can catch Kermode at some point, we'll pick his brains.
Oh, I bet that was a hard shot to do because he had to land his head right near the camera.
An inch either way, and he's either knocked himself unconscious or missed completely.
Yeah, well, Daltrey has put his life at risk many times for this film, as we'll see later on, but we'll get to that. I love this shot. It's coming up where it goes between her legs and then pans up. That exact shot was in Marla. So I can only assume, which was before this, so I can only assume it's a back reference to that. Where Marla goes to meet Cosima Wagner in the valley, and they have that crazy sequence. That shot of Tina Turner where she's like glitching out.
That was quite an intense shot.
I mean, everything in this film is a cartoon, basically. Like it's not quite a realistic portrayal of someone on drugs. So they have to have someone on drugs in this film completely crazy and just twitching and gurning and just going madness. But it doesn't matter because Tina just gives it her all. She's great. He even gets to do a big evil laugh.
That was almost as bad as Christopher Walken's evil.
Oh yeah. Oh, Tina does it better. We've not seen the last of Tina Turner on our commentary travels. Don't worry.
Oh no.
That is the most 1970s wallpaper I've ever seen in my life.
It is very 70s.
It's so 70s, it's kind of making me a bit ill.
I suddenly have the urge to go and buy something beige.
Giving me the fear. That's what it's doing.
Very nice lighting choices. I like the fact that they've backlit.
Oh, it's stunning. Yeah.
I didn't think to do something like that.
Paul Nicholas. My dad used to do an impression of him.
Oh yeah.
They've got AstroTurf carpets.
Oh.
Like you put on like a football pitch at school. Very odd.
Very interesting choices. Did Ken, this is probably a dumb question, did Ken ever partake of illicit substances?
He actually asked this on the commentary. He said that one time he took LSD in the early 60s, and he said it was terrifying because like he was in a field and the flowers started turning into snakes.
Oh.
So he just thought, oh, I don't want any more of this shit.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense because in that earlier sequence, which Ken Russell, by the way, has a thing about snakes. They're in all his films. Tommy Skeleton was covered in snakes, so he's obviously got snakes on the brain.
Yeah.
Snakes on a brain.
Snakes on
Get
a
it?
brain. Snakes on a plane. Snakes on a train. Last train to Busan.
This is cousin Kevin, who feels like basically invents Sid Vicious in this scene. The entire punk movement originates from this character, I feel. Now, I don't know if this is a mistake or if this was always this way, but on the old DVD, this entire scene was tinted yellow.
Oh.
Like all of, not just the water and the curtains and the carpet, all of it was yellow. But now on the Blu-ray, it looks normal.
Weird.
So I don't know, having not seen the film in 1975 at the cinema because I wasn't alive, I don't know if it was meant to be all yellow or if that was a colouring error on the DVD.
I mean,
but originally this was all of it was yellow. There was no nuance in the colour.
I suppose one thing not.
I remember when I got this Blu-ray and I watched it, and I thought, this scene feels weird, and then I realised why. Because I've never seen it in colour before.
Oh, blimey. I was going to say, I suppose one thing not to rule out is that obviously Ken would have been consulted over the restoration for any kind of DVD, and there's not to rule out the fact that he basically might have just gone, oh yes, no, it should all be yellow.
Possibly. I mean, this Blu-ray obviously came out before after Russell had died. So I don't know. Maybe it could have been a mistake. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? That's a mystery. Please send any inquiries about that to my bum. Now, Paul Nicholas, of course, would come back for Listomania to play Richard Wagner, who would also get to torture Daltrey again in that film. Now, I love the fact that in these shots of Daltrey getting soaked by the hose, that's actually Ken Russell doing the hose. I'm just picturing him going, whoa!
Look lively! Look lively!
Get on the ground, you cunt! Whoa! Being just crazy director man.
I mean,
this was Roger Daltrey's first day of shooting, by the way.
Oh god! Blimey!
Specifically, this shot was the first shot he filmed. Can you imagine coming on saying, "Okay, what's going to happen is you're going to be on an ironing board, and Paul Nicholas is going to iron you." And then later on, we're going to get you on the outside and we're going to fucking fire a hose at you for like 3 hours. That bodes, which I imagine boded well for the rest of the shoot. Look at his face there.
Oh, God.
See what I mean? Just invent Sid Vicious. This film. What he's meant to do with that football, I'm not sure. Just hold it, presumably.
It's more ball symbolism. You see all the little balls.
Oh, yeah. Well done, Dan.
He's holding a ball.
Oh, this is a...
Balls on...
Here's a controversial scene coming up.
Yeah.
This is the fiddle about sequence.
Yay!
And we should talk about Keith Moon. Keith Moon, who is also in the... I'm not. What's the point of that?
That was actually, people used to do that.
Did they?
Yeah, I remember.
I just assumed it was a bit of Keith Moon weirdness.
No, I spoke to somebody recently who mentioned that in passing.
Really?
Because I mentioned...
This is news to me.
It was at a meeting I was at, and I mentioned to somebody that they'd taken fish guts out of Guinness recently to make it vegan friendly, because originally they used to filter stuff through fish guts.
Sure.
And she was like,
I know about that, yeah.
no, my husband, he used to crack an egg in his Guinness every day. It was a good way for him to get his protein in.
Now, that is interesting. Now,
Yeah.
I always assumed that was just a bit of Keith Moon weirdness, that maybe he ad-libbed. I
mean, I don't know whether it's her husband saw this and decided that's just what you do,
that is also a possibility.
or whether he did it before this, but...
Now, you see, when I was talking earlier about nuance, like, because this film's a cartoon, you can't have a realistic depiction of ancestral paedophilia.
No.
He's got to be a raging paedophile who is just completely over the top. And it would be unforgivable in any other film, but because it's in this and it fits the tone, it kind of works. Like Keith Moon is just hamming his arse off.
I've just realised this entire room is full of circles.
Keith Moon, who also joins the Oliver Reed Pennyfion of just people who were basically insane and had just went on insane adventures. Keith Moon, of course, his adventures would lead to him dying 4 years later. But here he is, absolutely raged his way through it. Keith Moon, who, by the way, didn't play any... If I'm getting my information right, didn't actually play the drums on any of the music on this film.
Oh, right.
Because he couldn't keep in time. Because film soundtracks have to sync with the imagery. But Keith Moon couldn't do that because he was too unpredictable. He could play the drums live on stage and with The Who easily because he could play along with the band, but they couldn't say to him, right, we want you to play 2 bars for this scene and then you're going to come out and you're going to play 3 bars to this scene. He just couldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
He couldn't keep time in that way. He wasn't trained as such. Probably the only film I know where this soundtrack would accompany the scene of a molestation.
Yes.
I mean, what is there to say?
Largely stunned silence.
The only bit I find a little iffy, the other thing I find a little iffy, and I'm not sure about that, is this shot coming up where he's reading gay news.
Oh.
Now, I don't know what we're meant to infer from that. Personally, it's a little strange.
Well, I mean,
I don't think Russell was making an explicitly homophobic comment because he clearly wasn't homophobic.
Well, I mean, what you've got to...
You only have to watch his films to see that.
No. What you've got to imagine, though, is at that time in history, up until the 90s at least, homosexuality and paedophilia were very heavily linked in the public consciousness in terms of if you were gay.
I guess it's just laddie humour, really, I suppose.
Effectively.
Doesn't make it all right. But
no, not at all.
It's I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think Russell was on some agenda to say that all gays are paedophiles.
I think it was just
not true.
I think it was just a very blunt way to very quickly establish that he was a no good, and at a time when being gay was seen as a not good thing to be.
Yeah. Or at least it was still a very outsider thing to be.
Yeah. Again, so many circles in this room.
That's the idea. That's the motif that you've picked up on.
Yes.
This is their version of the instrumental Sparks, which appears on the album. I'm quite keen on this version, even though, like all the other music on the film, it's very overwrought. And very, very too keen on synthesizers, which is mainly Pete Townshend's fault. He was too enamored with technology and what it could do as opposed to if it fitted the actual material.
I mean, I don't suppose synthesizers these days would have any MIDI capabilities, would they?
No. Well, maybe they did, but not to the extent that they did later on down the line.
I was going to say, because if they had the sort of MIDI recordings of these, they could probably fine-tune them into anything they possibly wanted.
I just think that maybe he was a bit too enamored with, like, ooh, it could make this noise. Let's put that in the film. As opposed to whether it fitted the actual material.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to the original album, or even listen to The Who playing the album with just guitar, bass, and drums, and it sounds fantastic, and it's obviously a very different experience to the film. Yeah. But like I was saying earlier, the music works fine for the visuals because it's over the top and silly, and the visuals are over the top, so it matches that.
Do you think that then that this soundtrack was maybe more gimmick driven than
I wouldn't say gimmick, because I don't think he was trying to make something gimmicky. I think he genuinely thought this is the sound of the future. But maybe he didn't realise that in not even a couple of years it would sound very, very dated.
That's one of the problems with trends.
I don't use that as a criticism. I might have said this on these before, but I don't think saying something is dated. Oh, did you see the shadow of the camera there?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice little image of him in the television. I stole that for a film I did in college.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that shot of him superimposed against the TV, and I thought, oh, everyone's going to think I'm so clever.
Anybody pick up on it?
No, because I'm the only person who's seen this fucking
film.
What was I saying? Yeah, so I don't think saying something is dated is... I don't use it as an insult. Things date.
Oh, yeah.
That can't be avoided.
No.
And they weren't making this film thinking, oh, it'll look naff and weird in 5 years' time. They're just making a film that fit for the moment. That's all you can do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is the thing, and things that are defined by their era,
I love that bit where the guitar comes in, because you can tell that's Pete Townsend. And that, to me, feels like The Who. As opposed to the rest of the score, which sounds like... It doesn't sound like The Who, but that bit where the guitar comes in, that's like, oh, that's The Who. Through and through.
So is this supposed to be metaphysical or literal?
This is literal.
So he literally went to a junkyard and found a pinball machine?
Yeah.
That works and is plugged in?
Well, I guess the idea is that he was seeing a version of himself, a metaphysical inner self that led him to the junkyard, but then he is, through his Tomminess, found a pinball machine and discovered that he can really,
play a mean pinball.
Play some mean pinball, yeah. I also stole this music for a college film. I stole a lot of things from this sequence.
Well, you're probably more Russell-driven than I am. Because, I mean, apart from this, Listomania and The Devils, I really haven't seen as much of Ken's work as I would like to see.
I've seen basically everything he's made. Yeah, even the early BBC ones, the later films. He did Crimes of Passion, Lair of the White Worm.
That's another one I really want to see.
Surprised you've not seen that.
No, I really do want to watch it at some point. But it's just
Gothic is a pretty good one.
Isn't Capaldi in Lair?
Aria. What?
Isn't Capaldi in Lair of the White?
Yeah, yeah. I love seeing these old. I like pinball myself, and I love seeing these old pinball machines, these old vintage machines, which were all unceremoniously destroyed and smashed. Spoilers by the end. Yeah, I do like a good pinball machine. I also like being on a boat surrounded by these women.
Yes. When did this become a James Bond film?
They're rich now.
Yes.
I like to think that you could only get rich from playing pinball at this particular point in history.
Yes. No other time.
Now, you see, you know what? If Elton John had spent more time playing the pinball machine as opposed to playing the piano, he might have won this contest, just saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately,
but look, there's Elton John looking at his most Elton Johnness. He's never looked more Elton... Do you know what I mean? He's never looked more Elton John than in this film.
I mean, I was going to say, I'm not sure if you've noticed, Ben, but Elton John is on stage at the minute.
I have noticed. You know why I've noticed?
Go on.
Because, look, we're about to see his gigantic footwear.
It's very subtle.
Apparently, his only request for payment for this film was that he keep those boots.
Oh.
He's probably still got them somewhere.
I'll have to ask him at some point.
Oh, because you know him.
Yeah, just so.
Well, it's the way that you said I have to ask him, like you speak to him.
I'll find a way.
Oh, me and Elton, we go back.
Yeah. You know.
I love this shot. This one. Where it's like the widest fucking lens in the whole world.
Jesus.
Would have been used for that.
Yeah, yeah.
To get the entire crowd and to get Elton in and get those fucking boots in.
I mean, there isn't even any warping on the image. It's not like... Because, normally with their ultra-wide lenses, there's kind of barreling down the sides.
Yeah, like the fisheye sort of thing where they curve at the side.
There's nothing, though.
Well, that's what people don't give Ken Russell props. People know him as crazy man, but he was a genuinely good filmmaker. And he knew how to make the film just pop and look fantastic.
Very good quality colour usage as well.
I love this version of Pinball Wizard too.
Oh, I prefer it to the Who version.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't begrudge you for that. I personally prefer the Who version, but I don't begrudge you for that. Because the Who version's got that fantastic flamenco guitar from Pete Townsend all the way through it that just cracks it,
I wonder if anybody's ever made an ultimate mix.
Well, this did come out as a single, which I think is why most people know the Elton version, because it would have been released separately. Presumably it's a tie-in for the film.
Yeah.
And Elton's done it live a few times. That's not how you play pinball, you silly fool. You're meant to touch the flippers.
Tilt it.
See, what his mistake is, if he hadn't been playing the piano... I like his acting.
I wonder how he controlled the giant boots.
Presumably, I started a sentence without any idea how to finish it then.
Because presumably, if he, fell forwards or backwards, if he strapped into them, he'd just break his ankles.
He was probably directed to be like, do not move, do not lean back, you will fall and you may die. And yes, the Who doing their thing here, smashing the joint up. I know Pete Townsend said that he felt weird about doing that. His reasoning was like, oh, when I smash up a stage, it's through instinct, and this, I don't like being told to smash up a stage. And Ken Russell was like, it's a film. I'm the director, and I want you to smash the guitar. Now smash the pissing guitar. You're not the Who in this scene. You're just the band.
I don't think it's uncommon to say.
That shot, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Going all the way back.
That's
Why
amazing.
there's a priest in the corner, I'm not sure, but whatever.
It's because God guides us all, Ben.
It's because it's a Ken Russell film and we need a priest in there somewhere.
Yes. looks a bit like Father Stone.
Well, he also has... Are you helping the pinball wizard, Father Stone? No, I'm fine.
No, I'm good. I'm just here on stage, don't mind me.
From that sitcom written by Arthur Matthews.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good Arthur Matthews.
Very good Arthur Matthews, who wrote that show, and no one else did.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, and I don't feel like I'm alone here, that not a lot of people really got a grip on Ken Russell as a person.
No, they didn't. He's vastly underrated. No one gives him the credit he deserves, which is one of the premier filmmakers of the British film industry.
Oh well,
someone who just completely has influenced so many filmmakers and so many people. Like, I've got a book on the Devils. If you're interested, listeners, it's called Raising Hell. Ken Russell and the Making of the Devils. A very good book, all about the making of, and it also talks about the latter. If you want a good book about the latter years of the film and Warner Brothers weird release history of it, goes into all that detail. And Guillermo del Toro is interviewed in that book. Oh. Alex Cox knows film it. Del Toro is actually went to Warner Brothers to try and get the film released.
Really?
Yeah. Which, I mean, if you look at Del Toro's films, like Pan's Labyrinth and all that stuff, and you can kind of see the Ken Russell influence, can't you?
Yeah.
In just how, outlandish and, crazy his films get.
Absolutely. Oh, that was quite cool.
Oh, the way the star thing went.
That's why they used to change adverts on.
Oh, no, yeah. This was revenge on Ken Russell's. Oh, look, camera's right in the fucking thing. Who cares? I suppose that's what happens when you point a camera right at a reflective surface.
Yes.
But yeah, this
nice
was apparently Ken Russell's revenge because he got his start by filming adverts. And so that's how he always explained the sequence, was his revenge for doing adverts.
Ah. Well, when I was saying that not many people got a grip on Ken, I was talking more about him as a person, specifically.
In what way?
Well, Kermode tells it best, where when he was doing a Q&A with Ken, he turned up and he was like, "Oh, so Ken, you've said this in the past. Do you still stand by that?" And he goes, "I never said anything like that." And he goes, "Yes, you did."
Yeah. This was a screening he did for the Devils where Kermode tells a story in one of his books where he says that he said that, "So Ken, this is your attack on religion, the church," and Ken, which to be fair is wrong, I think. The Devils isn't an attack on religion, it's an attack on the church.
Yeah.
And Ken turned around and went, No, my film is not an attack on religion at all. I'm deeply religious. It's an attack on the church. It's an attack on the people who control religion. And Kermode went, he got a bit flustered because he'd only met Ken an hour before. I was like, well, I mean, that's not what you said before. He went, "Yeah, well, watch this." And Ken got up and walked out.
Yeah.
And then Kermode went up to him, and Kermode was pretty upset and a bit raging, going, "What did you do that for? You made me look like a right twat."
Yeah.
And Ken went, "Oh, don't worry about it, dear boy." And they became firm friends.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm talking about. Most people have some variation on a Ken Russell story where they think they understand him, and then he just completely left fields them, and they've got a leg left to stand on.
He was struck me as a very eccentric guy, which I guess fits his work. Yeah, he's he always seems like a very determined person. I'll talk about Ken more in a minute, but I just want to mention this song, which isn't on the album, and I can tell it's not on the album because it kind of sucks. I'm sorry, I don't like the songs that were made for the film.
Yeah,
this Ernie's Holiday Camp, and there's another one coming up later that were done for the film, and it's just it's no good.
No, I mean, it sounds to me like it was a bit of a rush job. It sounds
schmaltzy. It sounds Broadway. It doesn't sound good. I like Broadway, but it's too much. And Margaret does a good job of being crazy, which is quite good considering she was like this Hollywood queen, and Ken Russell has her flailing about and makeup running down her face, throwing her heels about, But there's if you've ever seen The Who, there's a film about The Who called The Kids Are All Right.
Yeah.
And there's a clip from Ken in that. It's like a montage of people talking about The Who. And there's a clip of Ken. He was doing an interview on, I think, Parkinson or Russell Harty for this film. And he has this great, like, dramatic... He's like a political rally. He goes, this country is in a weird, feeble, ambient state. And the thing that can drive it out is rock music. And I think that Daltrey, Townsend, Entwistle Moon can rise this country up from the ashes. More than Wilson and those crappy people could ever hope to achieve. And he raises his voice.
Jeez.
He was extremely passionate about what he was passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
Which was mainly music, which is what drove him to this, because he said that listening to the Tommy album reminded him of opera.
Oh.
And his big thing, of course, was classical music. That was his passion in life, was composers, classical music and opera.
Yeah.
So that's what drove him to make this. Or drove him to say yes to the commission to do it.
Yeah.
But what I love as well, that he has the goal to have, like I say, Anne Margaret, this Hollywood beauty, this Hollywood royalty, Anne Margaret. And he has okay, so today you're going to ride around in bubbles, and then we're going to fucking drown you in fucking what I hope is chocolate. And and then in a minute, we're going to just launch you with baked beans, and you're going to rive it in your hair. And I bet you fucking stank that day. I do apologise, but I wouldn't smell good if I was covered in baked beans.
No. I imagine baked beans, chocolate, and soap.
And this was nearly... She nearly died, by the way, doing this.
Oh, right.
She cut herself on the glass. You know, the bit where it smashes through. For some reason, I don't know why they weren't using breakaway glass.
Yeah.
But she actually cut her leg open, and they had to take her to the hospital to get it sorted. And they had to take her, like, they couldn't explain the fact that they had to say to the doctors, yeah, we've got a woman here. She's got her leg cut open. Oh dear. Oh yes, and she's covered in chocolate, baked beans, and bubbles. Oh, and by the way, it's Anne Margaret. Sorry. Bye.
Ken drops the phone. He just hears...
I can just imagine the doctor saying, so Anne Margaret's in room 2. She's covered in baked beans.
Her legs cut open.
Doctor, have you been taking that morphine again?
He's been spending too much time with the acid queen.
Kudos to her for just being... Apparently she was just... There was no complaints, no diva behaviour. She was just fully up for it. Ken Russell was like, okay, you're riving about in chocolate. She's like, great, let's go.
Brilliant.
Let's do it.
There was that's
apparently apparently Ken got a very angry phone call from her husband at the time.
Oh,
because he was just like being a bit snobby and being like, "You can't do this to Anne Margaret. Are you insane?" The answer to that question is yes.
Good day. This scene with Oliver Reed was actually just an offset outtake. They were just rolling at the time and thought they'd leave it in.
I assume that's the typical Hollywood thing of just putting some cold tea in a glass, but it might have been real. I don't know. He looks so happy.
Yeah, this is a very gifable film.
It is, yeah.
Very gifable film. I'm surprised that there isn't
considering
more.
half the film is told in close up. Well, that goes back to what I was saying before about how he just has the actors just. Every emotion on the planet is expressed in this film.
Oh, yeah. They really do work the range.
Oh, look, it's Jack, baby.
Oh, brilliant. Fresh off the set of Head.
Actually, he was actually filming Chinatown.
Oh, brilliant.
And then he got the offer to do this film. He flew out to... I guess he must have been like... I think it's because he was fond of the original album, but he apparently took a day off from... He had like a weekend off while filming Chinatown, flew out to London to film this, then went back.
Oh, blimey.
To finish Chinatown.
It's good, isn't it?
Which is good considering, like, he went out of his way to get a flight to do this on one... Which this would have only been a day of filming.
He must have really liked the album if that was the strength of it.
Jack Nicholson has always been very friendly of the rock scene. I mean, he wrote the Monkees film.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
which we have previously covered. If anybody is interested in that little dalliance,
yeah, we've done Head,
which
definitely fits into this category of rock movies.
Rock.
Yeah. I don't know how that would help a person. Just like throwing balls in their eyes with a little catapult. I'm sure it does something.
And we're not here to question the science. We're just here to learn from its methods.
Yeah. I'm not surprised Anne Margaret is seduced by him in this scene. He is dashingly handsome.
He doesn't at all look like the way that Kubrick beastily painted him.
Well, The Shining would have only been 5 years after this. Yeah. I love how, like, they would have obviously had Jack Nicholson on the poster and everything. Not in, like, massive print, but they would have his name on, even though he's only in one scene. But you got to sell it somehow, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we should probably put a flashing lights warning at some point.
I don't think it's that bad, is it? I guess it could be. They're not flashing rapidly. But then again, we're not showing the film. Remember?
No. If you're watching this with the commentary on, stop watching the film now.
Well, the scene's gone now, so it's too late.
Okay, well, sorry.
I often have that effect on women, to be fair.
Yeah. It's really problematic, especially when we have collaborations.
What do you mean? Oh, right.
Hear the chair roll over, they fall off.
Hey, man, they're only human.
Yeah.
Apparently, him and Oliver Reed didn't get on.
I can imagine they're both very strong personalities.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like fire meeting the storm.
Yeah.
I think Oliver Reed. From what I've read about it, I feel like Oliver Reed was maybe a bit jealous of Jack because Jack was becoming This was like when Jack was starting to become like a megastar, and he probably would have been seen as slumming it a bit by a period in this film.
It had been playing down.
I wish I knew. No.
God.
She was in The Devils. Can you guess who she played?
I didn't see her.
A nun.
Really?
Bingo. What a shock, eh?
Is there any women in The Devils who didn't play nuns? I really wish The Devils had a Blu-ray release. Preferably uncut.
We'll do The Devils next time. Yeah, see? You'll be back on. You'll be back for more dramatic fantasy dance sequences.
Hooray!
This must have been fun to film. Just driving down a road at 55 miles an hour. With Anne Margaret arriving in your face.
That car must
Roger Daltrey clearly quite enjoying the attention here.
Oh, yeah. The cars must be quite wide, because you've got to imagine getting like Ken Russell and a camera in there.
Well, maybe Ken wasn't in the car.
Yeah, true.
They could have just had the cameraman in.
But even then, I mean, actually, looking at the frame in there, they could have probably had him in the passenger seat.
Well,
on the front.
He didn't need to be in the car. Just have the cameraman, and if you trust the cameraman to do the job, then just let them get on with it. Oh, you can see the camera again.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a problem when you have a film which has so many reflective surfaces.
Oh, it is a wide car.
I couldn't tell you what kind of car it was. I'm not a car man.
I'm going to say Cadillac because I don't know cars.
Brand new Cadillac.
It's a brand new Cadillac.
That's a little Elvis reference for you Anne Margaret fans. Speaking of Anne Margaret, this is absolutely insane.
Yes.
Oh, God, it's brilliant. This is great. Listen to the sound effects. She has laser hair. It's so brilliant. Ken Russell's insane. Okay, Anne Margaret, here's what you're gonna do now. We've already drowned you in beans and nearly murdered you.
Your husband has called us 6 times so far. We've just put him on hold.
We've just started hanging up on him now.
We've just fobbed him off on Pete Townsend.
What? Now spray your hair in Roger Daltrey's face, and we're gonna make it go pew 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 pew. Roger Daltrey on the is interviewed on the Blu-ray, and he says something like, "It was a bit difficult, you know. I mean, Anne Margaret play your mother. I mean, that could have been a very incestuous film, let me tell you." Now, apparently their mirror also acts as a window,
Oh, cool.
which is a very strange design choice.
Mm.
But then again, it was the 70s.
Very true.
Who knows?
Nirvana album incoming.
I feel like you've made that joke before. Maybe on one of the Bonds.
Probably. Probably. Well, once you've done
that is the bluest water I've ever seen.
That is very blue water.
He also had time to remove his shirt.
Oh, he's back to being Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it, because he hit the water.
Exactly. Yeah, here we go. He's free.
He's free.
Just in case any of you wanted clarification.
Yeah.
This is great.
He's great.
I like this version of I'm Free, probably because Daltrey's singing it, so it feels more like the Who's version. That's a great shot where he's running through the fields. Look at that. This is what I'm saying about Ken Russell being underrated as a visual director. Look at that. It's absolutely beautiful imagery. And this film is... He basically said as much himself in the interview. He's interviewed as well on the Blu-ray. And he says, like, when he heard the album, he just realised it could... He just kept imagining stuff from it. And he thought, this could look really great.
Yeah.
This could just be a visual... His words, a visual feast.
Oh, absolutely.
That was not Roger Daltrey.
No.
That was a dummy.
That was Roger Moore's stuntman.
That was Roger Dummy. I like this sequence where he apparently is running through Blackpool, and you got these shots. Now there's a shot coming up which is the subject of many a dumb internet rumour.
Oh yeah.
When it comes up, I'll tell you. That is not John Lennon on the right. Okay, everyone on the internet thinks that's John Lennon, and even found the need to put it on the IMDb trivia page. You're wrong.
No.
That is not John Lennon. He could not have gone to England at this time.
No.
He was stuck in America for immigration issues with the IRS. So no, it's not John Lennon. Please stop saying that, internet. Thank you.
Cut to next year. When reviewing Tommy, it was interesting to find out that John Lennon was in this film. Oh, I love this shot.
Oh, these are great. Yeah.
I mean, we do bemoan the Bond back projection, but this is very well utilised.
Yeah, but the difference is this film isn't. This sequence isn't trying to be realistic.
No.
He's clearly going for a psychedelic fantasy, impressionistic vision here.
Yeah, it's very well done.
So it works just fine, and plus it's to convey the idea that Tommy's senses have come alive for the first time since he was about 9, and he's just like. He can feel everything in the world. The water, the air. That's why you even get... Yeah, I know it's silly, but you get a shot of a volcano. And it just meant to convey that, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is one of the songs that was done for the film. And it's not very good. But whatever. You get to see Anne Margaret in water, so it's fine. It's worth it for that.
Thumbs up.
I wonder if it was because a lot of films, you know, when they adapt musicals for films, like off the stage or whatever, and they always have a new song in, and the reason for they put new songs in is because if you have a song that's written for a film, it could qualify for an Oscar for best song, because you can't have. That's why, like, if you're making a film of, say, Les Miserables, you can't nominate any of the famous songs from Les Miserables because they weren't written for the film.
Yeah.
They were written for the stage. But if you wrote a new song, that could count. That's why musical films, sneaky, always put a new song in. Because they want that Oscar.
Going after that Oscar there.
Going after that Oscar gold.
Trying to get the Oscar fever.
Oh, look at little Bubba.
Ah.
I feel like Ken wasn't too interested in this scene either, considering the sequence takes place over one shot.
Yeah.
It's just the camera moving back between those two over and over.
It does seem a bit flat after you've just gone from that sensory overload.
I don't know.
To...
It's a very exposition-y song. I feel like it was written to order, like Ken saying to Pete, okay, we need a song that bridges the gap between I'm Free and Tommy becoming famous. Yeah. It does have a very silly lyric. Pinball, it's a fever. Rock opera is silly, but...
Yeah, it's admirable. So what do you think...
Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say I prefer this film to The Wall.
Yeah, yeah.
The wall's a bit of a dirge compared to this.
It seems very flat and very. I mean, I know the point of it is to be dour, but you know, it's.
I like the wall.
Yeah.
I just prefer this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the wall's bad. The wall has its flaws. It has many flaws actually, but it's still a very good experience. I think. I think it's worth watching at least once.
Oh yeah.
Maybe only once, but but this film is just alive. This film just lives, fucking breathes. I'm telling you,
it's an electric
experience.
You
can't have a bad time watching this film.
No.
I can see people not enjoying it for being silly and being dated, but I don't think you won't come away from it thinking that was boring.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, what I was going to say to you is, what do you think this film would pair well with as a double feature? So if you were playing this...
As a double feature?
Yeah. So if you were going to play this in another film, what do you think it would pair well with?
Phantom of the Paradise by Brian De Palma.
I've got that on the shelf, actually, funnily enough.
Either that, I'm thinking of a film... You know what I'm doing? I'm thinking of a film of the same era.
Yeah.
So either from the year before, or the same year, or the year after. Phantom of the Paradise, or Rocky Horror.
Oh, you know, Rocky was on my mind. I was thinking Rocky would probably go quite well with it.
We'll do that one, and we'll do all the things that all those fans shout at the screen.
Yes.
Arsehole, slut. Camera again.
Couldn't afford
Stop
an
shooting
umbrella.
so many mirrors.
See, I think this is a bit of a cheat, really, because they're getting all the promotional photo work out of the way under the guise of it being in the film.
There you go. Two birds, one stone.
Good to see Julian Barrett looking well.
Here's Sally Simpson, and that is Ken Russell's daughter.
Ah.
Yeah, Victoria. That's his real daughter at the time. And now. I realised I said his daughter at the time. Like, what? She's not his daughter anymore.
The 70s were a strange time.
Yeah, that's his little daughter Victoria, playing Sally Simpson. I feel like this little subplot sort of sums up Russell's feelings about what the film's trying to say, about religion, about sex, about idolization, about pop, about fandom. That's my bedroom looks like that, weirdly enough.
So does mine.
Just images of Roger Daltrey's first solo album. Plastering the walls.
Terrifying. I mean, it's not even a particularly decent photo of him.
No. That might just be the restoration. Maybe not doing it any favours. Maybe it looks fine on the day. I'd be a bit worried if my daughter just had pictures of a grown man, and only a grown man, all over a wall.
Literally all over the walls and the ceiling.
And the ceiling. How did they even get those? Whatever.
Yeah. No, he is definitely a very,
She's looking very 70s there. Look at the bell bottoms and the... Yeah.
No, I definitely would have to agree with you. He's a very, very talented director. And I think that he's very underrated in the sense of, you know, because he's been so shunned by the industry.
I don't know. I think it's because in the British film industry, we sort of... Uncle Ernie again. That's very sinister.
Yeah.
It's because I think we're... In the British film industry, we're quite averse to filmmakers who have this kind of grand gogol sort of visions. Like we're more attracted to films that are very down to earth and sort of the earth kitchen sink sort of things, and they're great. I'm not saying they're not good.
Oh, they have a place.
They're good for different reasons, but you know, there was a time when British films could be like this, where they could look as good, if not better, than the over the top things we were getting from America.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, this is great too. I really like this version of Sally Simpson. The film has this bit added from Daltrey that really makes it work. I think I just like the bits Daltrey sings because it feels more like The Who when he sings.
Yeah. Actually, you've just reminded me. That's another one we'll have to do at some point. Slade in Flame.
Oh, that'd be a good double feature, actually.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is Slade in Flame. Yeah, definitely.
Another one that's been really badly treated by the industry.
Another film that isn't allowed to be seen as a great British film when it so clearly is.
Yeah. I've got the DVD down there, but it's screaming for a Blu-ray because it's one of the murkiest DVD releases I've ever seen.
This belongs in a very particular genre of film that was very like rock films that were very oh, poor Sally. Oh man, poor Sally.
Aww.
British films that were like rock films, very critical of rock. So maybe this, Phantom of the Paradise, Slade in Flame, Privilege, which is one of my favourite films.
Yes.
I adore that film. So it's so fantastic. We'll have to do that one day. Although maybe that one might be a bit too dour for our...
That's another one as well. Audition. Not
Audition?
Yeah, Audition.
Oh, no. That's a Japanese film.
What am I thinking of?
Performance. Yeah. You're thinking of the film where the guy gets like needles stuck in him.
Yeah,
by the lady. No,
and then Performance.
You're thinking of Performance with Mick Jagger.
With Mick Jagger, yeah.
Oh, I love Performance. Performance is so good. What a film that is.
My uncle has the DVD of it.
I've got the Blu-ray.
Oh, have you got the Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Moving up in the world. We'll have to do that one as well at some point.
And she marries... It's okay, she marries Frankenstein.
Oh, it all works out.
Frankenstein is actually not called Frankenstein. It's called the monster. The name is Frankenstein's monster. The monster itself is not called Frankenstein. Oh, you're such an idiot.
Second film that Ken Russell's done where Frankenstein is in it.
Well, first. Listomania came after this.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean.
It's great. You know what I mean? Like, I wish we had more films like this where just a pure, just pure cinema, just a pure expression. It might not be the most realistic film in the world, but not every British film has to be.
Not everything has to be Kathy Come Home.
No, exactly.
And I mean,
I love this. It's so cynical. Just the image of her with the pram and the fur coat, looking jaded and defeated, amongst this crowd of the teeny boppers. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the sounds of the screaming they got directly from the Hard Day's Night soundtrack.
Oh wow, blimey!
So there you go. That's another little link, a little bit of continuity between our whatever this is we're doing.
Well, this is the thing, you know.
What a 70s looking office. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
The carpet, the desks. Oh, my God. It's heartbreaking. I mean, that's like something you'd see in a piff.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those things that does bother me a little bit, is that even now in modern-day British cinema, whilst they've embraced colour more, which is nice, and they've tried to shift away from period pieces more regularly, they still haven't embraced this side of cinema.
No, there should be a...
It's still very genre restrictive.
No, there should be a place for this kind of work, definitely. It's just like I say, it's just like British film history just doesn't allow for films like this to be remembered. They just look back at it as, oh, the most you'll get is like documentaries about the 70s, like, oh, look how crazy and naff it was. And it's like, well, this film to me is more than just a curio of 70s cheesiness. It's more than that.
Yeah, no, I agree. On a surface level, it would be very glib to just go, oh well, it's a weird cheesy movie.
These were real thugs, apparently, by the way.
Oh, cool.
That he hired. Real, like, they're not Hells Angels because they're American. Whatever the British equivalent of the Hells Angels is.
The Bastard Squad.
I don't know. They have a certain name. I don't know.
The Nasty Gang.
The baddies.
The Roughy Tufty Bunch.
We'll call them the baddies.
Yes. On a surface level, it would be very glib and very easy to just say that these are cheesy and sort of tacky remnants of an era gone by. But like you say, even a cursory knowledge of filmmaking would show that this is actually a phenomenally well-made production.
Totally.
That's, I mean, just because it's being a bit OTT and a bit silly does not necessarily mean that
but the story allows for it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I love that shot of them superimposed in his glasses. That's actually Daltrey, by the way.
Really?
Up in that hang glider.
Oh, blimey.
Like, that's what I love about Ken Russell's mad as well. We're going to take our star of the film, who is worth quite a lot, I imagine, and just stick him in a hang glider, which, by the way, he'd never done before. Literally, like, okay, off you go, action.
Okay, go.
That's what Daltrey says in the interview. He says that, like, he'd never been in a hang glider before. And Russell was like, okay, today you're You're up in that thing. Off you go.
All right.
Daltrey was like, all right. Guess we're doing that today then.
I imagine this would have probably been quite well received in European cinema, although they probably would have thought it was a bit tonally.
I don't know, probably.
Still not far enough, you know. I mean, you look at stuff like French expressive cinema and German New Wave.
That's why I keep going on about silent cinema, because I think like Russell's work is very much. He always said that his favourite film was, or one of his favourite films was Metropolis, Fritz Lang, and that you can see that.
Oh yeah,
in his work, definitely.
Yeah.
The way the expressions on he gives his actors, and the way that everything just pops, and you know, it feels like the film itself is alive.
It feels it's distinctly different. It shows another way, and who knows? In an alternate reality, this might have been the start of something truly great.
Well, probably a lot of copycats, I imagine.
Yeah.
This is a good version of Sensation. Which is what the song's called. Some good moves there. Look at that guy.
I think that's something that is quite missing from the film industry, particularly in modern day.
That's great.
That
I could do that. I sound like an uncle at a wedding.
Well, we're going to do
this. She's like, oh, cracking that. Look at that.
We're going to do this after the commentary finishes.
I could do that. I could have done that when I was 20, never mind now.
I think that is missing from the British film scene, though, the modern day, is that streak of eccentricity that is still prominent in British culture. It's never gone anywhere. It's just changed slightly.
It goes beyond eccentric. This film isn't eccentric. It's bonkers.
But I think it is grounded in a distinct, quintessential British eccentricity. You couldn't look at this and be confused as to what country it was from. I wouldn't look at this and go, it's German.
I don't know if I'd agree that it's quintessentially British. It's just like, this could be made in any country. It's just the fact that it was made with a... Oh, there's Ken, by the way, on the right. He's in the beard.
Oh, nice. He looks well.
He's in the beard.
He's in the beard.
Well, I didn't know how else to describe him.
It's the man in the beard.
He's the beardy man.
Well, I mean, you said it, and I automatically knew who you were talking about. So
yeah, I suppose. So this is Tommy now becoming one of the idols who he'd seen earlier in the film, becoming his own worst enemy, as it were. Considering all those idols did was pump him full of drugs and make him all gippy gappy.
Is that the technical term?
I believe so.
Yes.
I keep having to stop myself from singing along.
I mean, you can. We won't get copyright.
I wonder why they painted Anne Margaret's face bright white in this scene. Look at it.
That's a good point.
Were they trying to make her look older? Because don't forget, they don't make much effort to make Anne Margaret and Oliver look older, and this presumably because we see Tommy go from a baby to a grown man, so that's what 25 years.
Yeah,
and Anne Margaret and Oliver don't change.
No,
at any point.
But then I suppose, okay, I'm going to probably give Russell a bit more credit than he's due here, but I suppose that would be because if we are viewing this film from the perspective of Tommy, he will have seen his mum and dad, stepdad, from the point he went blind. So as far as he's concerned, up to then,
I'm liking your headcanon there.
Yeah,
put that on the TV tropes head scratchers page.
Hey, if it's good enough for John Lennon, it's good enough for me. But yeah, realistically, he should only really start to see them aged from the moment his vision came back, because in his head, that would be how they'd always perceived them.
Are they drinking absinthe?
Yes.
It's bright green.
Absinthe, milk and mash. That's the typical British meal.
That would be enough to make you quite sick, I imagine.
Yes. My guess is it's actually not even absinthe. I reckon it's just like fairy liquid and water.
But it's obviously juice or something, but I'm just wondering why it's bright green.
Limeade, maybe?
There's more at the door. I keep having to stop myself from singing along. All right.
Why is Tommy backlit in every single shot?
Because he's Jesus, Dad.
Oh, right, okay.
I love this evil look from Oliver Reed.
Another gif.
He knows exactly what to do. This is another beautiful shot. of him on the diving board and everyone behind him.
That is nice. It's a nice way to create a moving background with
Oh, look,
a
a
fixed
butcher.
foreground.
I never noticed that. There's a man dressed as a butcher who just dived into the water. Why not?
It all works.
Okay, so now we've got another song for the film. Thankfully, our last one, because this one sucks as well. We didn't really need this as well because it doesn't really like the point of the scene. I guess is to get everyone coming to Tommy's camp.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. We could have cut straight from Welcome to Tommy's Holiday Camp, and it would have been fine. I think.
Maybe it's just for the people who are not quite following it at this point to really cement what the. I mean, admittedly, if you're an hour and 35 minutes into Tommy and you haven't got it yet,
yeah. We should talk about this. This was one of the first films to use the. You were looking on the Blu-ray. It had like the option for quintaphonic. This was the first film to do that.
Oh, blimey!
In fact, I think the quintaphonic sound system was designed specifically for this film.
It's quite impressive.
Pete Townsend was very. He talked about this on the Blu-ray. Says he was very involved with because Russell wanted it to sound like a rock show in a way that film cinemas wouldn't have been equipped to deal with back in the time. So a lot of development went into this. What was then? It sounds mad. It sounds really primitive now, but the idea of a 4-track system was like, whoa, 4 speakers.
It'll never catch on.
Yeah, exactly. And now cinemas have like
I think
it's 8-9 speakers per screen. You know, it's like.
I mean, to be honest with you, I've never had a 5.1 system. The last I saw was 8.1.
Yeah.
But...
Well, what it was is because the year before, The Who had been recording their Quadrophenia album, which was recorded on a quintaphonic system. And I think Pete had done that, and he thought, well, we could do that for the film as well, and really like expand that into film soundtracks. So, and the film's use of it was quite primitive for the time compared to now. That is, but at the time, it would have been like. I think a lot of the reviews point out like this film was, if you went to see it, was significantly louder than any other film at the cinema.
If you went on rescreenings, I mean, I'm probably subject to the cinema, but on rescreenings, do they screen it in quadraphonic?
Well, we have 5.1 now, so and the Blu-ray has been remixed for 5.1, so it's in that basically.
I imagine it translates
it
better to 5.1.
What I'm saying is, if you watched it in the old quintaphonic system, it probably wouldn't sound good now because the sound systems we have now are better equipped than the ones in 1975.
Although I imagine,
so it would sound quite tinny compared to what we're used to.
Well, I was going to say, I imagine,
but at the time, to audiences, it would have sounded pretty different and revolutionary.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I imagine the decision to shoot it in such an advanced format meant that remixing it to 5.1 probably made it sound better than most films that made that transition. Yeah,
because it was a lot of care went into the sound of the film, thanks to Pete Townsend and sort of his like I say, his efforts to consistently move the sound forward. And sometimes to the detriment, as with the very synth-heavy soundtrack, and sometimes to the benefit, because he was so keen on getting this newfangled 4 speakers system going.
He's a madman.
Tommy's holiday camp. Because apparently, it was Keith. This going back to the original album. It was Keith Moon's idea for the holiday camp because originally the way Pete wrote it was that Tommy just had a church, like a sort of cult basically. But Keith Moon thought that was a bit boring and said, "Well, why can't it be? I don't know. I think he probably said it joking. A holiday camp, like Butlins or somewhere like that." I was like, "Yeah, that's so much better. It's so more different and original." And
again, it kind of pulls full circle with the holiday camp from the beginning of the
film. Yeah, well, this was for when they were writing the album.
Yeah. Oh right.
It was Keith Moon's suggestion to make it a holiday camp. This isn't real sign language he's doing.
No.
Just so you all know. But you probably didn't need telling that. Fuck this. It's commercialized. I'm out of here.
Again, another really easy cosplay.
Yeah, I'd love to have one of those shirts.
I
bet there's none left. I bet they're all chucked in the bin.
I imagine you probably would be able to get that logo though online in a fairly high res. Oh yeah. What was it like working on the set of Tommy?
It was great. They gave me all this cider and fucking blue milk and green absinthe I could drink. The balls again.
What happened to all those balls?
Motifs.
I do often wonder this with very unique props. Whatever happened to them? Because the answer is they got binned.
Chucked in the bin, mate.
But there's,
why would they keep them?
there's so many of them. How do you bin that?
They're
level
only
of stuff.
But bear in mind, Dan, those are only ball bearings. Those wouldn't have been made for the film.
No.
They get made to put out to sea.
Hmm.
They've probably got some and sprayed them silver.
I suppose they probably would have got some second-hand ones, maybe.
That's what I mean. They wouldn't have been manufactured for the film. They would have acquired some ball bearings, sprayed them bright silver for this scene, and then they probably, well, what do you do with ball bearings? Probably just dismantle them when you're done with them. So, yeah.
Of course, we burnt them all. I had a very good time.
In a wicker Roger Daltrey.
It's time to keep your appointment with the Wicker Tommy.
Uh-oh. That guy's boozing. We can't have that.
That is a horrible looking booze.
Appears to be barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
They changed the line there.
Oh,
On the album it was, "Hey, you smoking Mother Nature, this is a bust." They changed it to the film to, "You've missed the bus," which isn't as good.
No.
Maybe they thought "This is a bust" was dated to the 60s.
Could be. It could be.
I've always been curious about that one. Why they felt the need to change the line. Whatever. Tommy's become arrogant and as vain as the idols who tried to cure him.
That's a lot of extras.
There's a lot of pinball machines.
Mm.
And also on the album, the line was, "Here comes Uncle Ernie to guide you to your pinball machines." Which, I don't know why they changed that. I guess because "Here come willing helpers" makes sense because they had more people.
Mm.
I nearly said wonder what happened to all those pinball machines, but I know what happened to them. We're about to find out. They get smashed.
Oh, that's a lot of really nice.
Which is a shame because those are a lot of nice vintage machines. That
I think I would like a pinball machine.
Where would you put it?
I don't know.
In the garden?
Probably.
To get rained on and eventually rusted.
There was a really good Addams Family one, I remember, from my childhood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's everyone loved the Addams Family one.
Mm.
You want to play that one again, Dan? Go to Bury.
Really?
Yeah, go to Bury Arcade.
They did a Doctor Who one as well that I quite liked.
Also in Bury Arcade.
Simpsons, they had one for the Simpsons as well, I remember.
This is now an advert for Bury Arcade Club.
Go to Bury Arcade Club.
Full disclosure, I'm from Bury, and I used to go to Bury Arcade Club every week.
It's really good.
It's great. Dan's never been. I keep telling him to go, and he won't, because he's a lazy cunt.
Yes. It's 2 trains and a pandemic. And
You've got a car.
I'm not driving that far.
Oh, come on. It's only an hour.
That's an hour too far for my horse.
I don't think they're going to take it, Dan.
We're not going to take it anymore.
Yes.
It's all falling down for our Tommy.
It's getting a bit disastrous. Should point out though, a lot of the details in this film would have been sketched in by Ken because the album story. That's probably the only spoken dialogue in the film. It's Roger going, "No." A lot of the details of the album story didn't really make sense without the many Pete Townsend interviews of the time explaining what it all meant.
Yeah.
So it's good that Ken's film gave it a visual reference. This whole ending sequence is beautiful. With Tommy sort of wandering through the burning remains of the camp amongst all the ball bearers. There's just something really magical about it, and operatic. Which, I mean, you know, it's a rock opera, of course, but I should stress that Tommy wasn't the first rock opera. It might have been the second, though. I believe the first rock opera was by the band SF's. It was called SF Sorrow, and it was by the band The Pretty Things.
Oh yeah.
Who you'll probably know because they inspired the Bowie song "Oh You Pretty Things." Yeah.
And what was their film called?
That wasn't a film. That was just.
In terms of rock opera.
No, I mean but in terms of albums that told a story, as opposed to a collection of songs, or concept album or whatever. Although I'd say the phrase concept album and rock opera are quite different.
I was going to say I'd probably separate them because it's...
Well, a concept album is an album where all the songs are about or revolve around one theme. A rock opera is songs that tell a definitive story throughout. Like Tommy is a rock opera because all the songs are delivering a narrative. It might not be very clear if you listen to the album just by itself. The thing is with the album is it's perfectly enjoyable as just a rock album. You don't have to know the story or even care about the story to enjoy it. I mean, look at Pinball Wizard. I mean, that's one of the biggest rock hits of all time.
Yeah. And
not many people know that it's linked to, within a narrative, they just know it as a fun song about pinball.
Yeah.
You know. I probably should have said this in the Pinball Wizard sequence, but I'll say it now. Fuck it. The Pinball Wizard came about because a journalist friend of Pete Townsend said to him half jokingly, "You know, I'd give a really good review to your new album if there was a song about pinball in it because I love pinball." So that's what he did. He went off and he wrote a song about pinball.
Did his friend give him a good review?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I believe it was a journalist called Nick Conn who wrote for the New York Times. He said to him half jokingly, said that, you know, that album would be really good, but it just needs a bit of pinball in it, you know. And that's what he did, and it's good that he did because it gives it this strange, like you were talking before about eccentricity and that weirdly British quality. Oh, we should talk about this shot. See that?
Yeah.
That's the pier really burning down.
Oh, bloody hell.
It set fire, not because of the film, it just set fire. And Ken Russell got in a lot of trouble because he said to the cameraman, "Film it!"
Is it a problem to film an event that you didn't cause happening?
Well, the way I see it, no one died.
No.
So it's not like he's not exploiting someone's tragedy.
No. I mean, my argument is if you are arriving at a current event that is unfolding...
It's because they were filming... I think they were filming the Sally Simpson sequence. And for whatever reason, a fire broke out and they were evacuating everyone. And Ken apparently said to the cameraman, "Roll the camera." "You serious?" "Yep, go on." And then they just stuck it at the end of the film.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Oh, this is interesting. In South Africa, which for some reason, I don't know why they did this, but bear in mind that the South African government at this time were horrible racists. They cut the film. This whole last song was cut.
Oh.
The film ended on the pier fire.
What?
They went from the pier fire to credits. So the rebirth and new discovery of religious glory, bad. Real fire, good. Don't ask me why they made that decision, but like I say, the South African government at the time was run by horrible racists. Yeah. So maybe that's why.
I can see it. Oh, his hair dried quick.
It did, I bet that hurt.
Yeah.
Crawling around on his bare fucking feet amongst rocks and water.
Across, jagged rocks. There's been a lot of scenes where he's been running through forests and fields and roads where I've just been like, one little bit of broken glass and that's it, mate.
I know, yeah. Or just rocks. Like this shot here, that's no stunt double.
Jesus.
They just said to Roger Daltrey, okay, are you done hang gliding? Okay, great. Now you're going to climb a mountain. Go.
If you fall, tough shit.
Don't worry. I'm sure we'll find another one.
This is the last shot of the film. You just got to climb this rock. Oh, he's dead. Right, we're gonna have to refilm the whole film.
We'll get David Bowie in. And we're back full circle. He has been reborn. Back to his place of conception. That's a lovely shot.
That is a very nice shot.
Yeah. That's just a film in a light, that. Like a tungsten light. Superimposed against Daltrey.
So would they have filmed the afternoon sky first and then superimposed the tungsten light over it, or?
Yeah, well, they just filmed Daltrey like being all Jesus-y on the cliff, and then used an optical effect to superimpose the tungsten light in. Matted it black, and then boom. Job's a good one. And that's your lot. Yeah.
Nice.
Even the font is 70s tastic.
It's really
For the
solid.
credits.
Well,
then,
it's an experience.
And then out of the blue, Robert Stigwood called. And Christopher Stamp, manager of The Who at the time. I guess it's only fair he gets the exec producer credit. Screenplay by Ken Russell. Bit unfair. Townsend wrote all the music. Oh, there we
Based
go.
on the rock. Yeah.
Additional material by John Whistler and Keith Moon. We only know her name's Nora from the credits because they never actually say her name in the film.
No. I would think that this is...
Actually, that's not true. This always bugged me. It says featuring Elton John as the Pinball Wizard. But he's not. Tommy's the Pinball Wizard.
Yeah.
Elton John is meant to be the local champ. Because in the song, it's the kid singing to Tommy, he's a pinball wizard, as in Tommy's the pinball wizard, not Elton John. So fuck you. The film's rubbish now.
I was going to say, I'm really surprised that something like this hasn't been picked up by Criterion, I'll be honest with you.
I don't know. I mean, there's some good extras on the Blu-ray. There's interviews with Russell, Townsend, Daltrey. There's a little featurette about the sound system. Which is what I got that info about Quintaphonic from. There's obviously the commentary by Russell and Kermode, which is really good, in a sort of two old men talking about a film sort of way, a bit like us.
No. I can see that. I know. I'm rewatching this. I think it's kind of reasserted to me that this is an experience.
It had 2 DOPs.
Oh,
That was interesting. That's a bit unusual.
this is the kind of film that you come away from it feeling refreshed.
Production processing by Rank Labs. Rank Laboratories.
Very good lab, but they do smell a bit.
Excellent processing. So yeah, that would have been one of the first films to have that little thing there. It's a Dolby that you see on every film now. So for that reason, it has a place in history. Ronnie Wood from the Stones was on the musician stuff.
Just seeing if there's anybody I recognise.
Loads of people. Ray Cooper. Townsend, of course, played all the Sims. On location at the Robert Stigwood Organisation. In Lee International Studios. The best international studios. Oh my.
It's like putting the house lights back up.
Yeah, it's a bit. Oh, yeah, Quintaphonic Sound developed by John Mosley.
It's strange to see a record label.
That you can tell that's been done for the new release because look, it looks really like clean compared to the rest of it.
Absolutely. Well, like I say, I think that this would be very politely sort of defined as an experience piece of cinema, something that you would see that
sure is
that would cleanse the palate, so to speak. I really enjoyed it. I know that you really like it.
I think we've established that.
Yes.
I don't think I need to say anything else. In fact, I need a wee. You wrap this up.
Very well. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Tommy comedy dining experience.
I'm having a wee now. Night, y'all.
Ben is going for a wee. It's nearly 11 o'clock at night.
I've said enough on this one. I'm spoken out.
So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed our little venture through Tommy. And we will see you next time.